Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, Hollywood Showno here, about to give you another Injustice Gods Among Us video. In this video, we talk about the gear that you should be upgrading first and some of the best gear items that you can actually get upgraded first. So, number one on the lovely list is the Ibistick, which is obvious. The main reason that the Ibistick is super important is because 10% dot added on special is maximum health. Now, if you have 250% crit damage, you can actually eat away 35% of the opponent's health, assuming that every dot crit. And where this is exceptionally powerful is obviously in multiplayer when you see a lot of people with their second and third slots having 50% crit chance and 250% crit damage. What they're not actually telling you is that somehow they've hacked those characters to actually have 100% crit chance, even though you're only supposed to have 50%. This is why things like the LexCorp 3-piece or the Ibistick basically crit every time. They've somehow manipulated the system. While the critical damage cannot be affected, somehow the crit chance is. So the Ibistick is also one of the best tools for dealing with anybody that is using 4th world gear or any other high health cards that just block pretty much everything. Next up on the list is the 4th world Godly Helmet, which is a pretty powerful item as well. And the reason it's obviously powerful is because of the health regen from Special 1, but obviously blocking 25% damage is about 5%, actually 15% short of max blocking, which is 40% for special moves. If you have 40% blocking gear altogether, you essentially block 90% of special damage, and that is the ultimate cap. So having 50% or 40% blocking or 65% effective, which you can get with 2 gear items, basically you can't take much damage at all. That number might actually be a little bit lower, but next up we also have the 4th world Godly Chestplate, which in my opinion is probably one of the best 4th world items, unless you're using somebody like Arkham Origins Batman, and then of course the 4th world Mace, the Ibistick, and the helmet are actually best. What makes the 4th world Godly Chestplate ridiculously good is the 20% take no damage from basic attacks. While the 30% chance to reflect all specials while blocking will actually give you a little bit of power as well. Taking no damage from basic attacks, especially when you have the opportunity to get crit for 15,000 from a Cassandra King Batgirl, can be a big deal. And the 40% max health increase does counteract with a couple things, like the LexCorp is a set amount. However, the Ibistick, the LexCorp helmet, and the Assassin's Blade all are based off maximum health, so the more health you actually stack, the more rot damage you're going to take. Now, from the LexCorp set, in my opinion, the best gear item is the LexCorp helmet. The reason I feel that is because 50% crit damage, 40% block damage, and 6% dot added on special. This is probably one of the best offensive defensive items in the game. Now, while you don't have as much burn as the Ibistick, the fact that you gain crit, especially if you have 5250 to begin with, and then 40% blocking basically makes special garbage. Your main damage dealer can actually survive quite a long time if you have that. As we've talked about earlier, 40% blocking is the effective number to only take 10% damage from special that you block. And that's why you see LexCorp people blocking flying punches for like 2,300, whereas a Martian Manhunter with a 4th world actually takes like 4,000 to 5,000 damage because of that. Now, the 2 other gear items that are really good to upgrade, especially on the offensive side of things, are the Knife Collection and the Bone Spikes, which I actually don't have. The reason for that is because of damage boost and basic attacks, but also a heal self on Special 1. You always want to have at least 1 damage dealer, and you want to have at least 1 blocker in multiplayer, and even in the single player campaigns or even nightmare difficulty, a blocker can save your life, especially if they have a way to heal themselves. And that's what the 4th world gear definitely allows. But on your main damage dealer, you definitely want to have something like this. And for example, somebody like MetaHuman the Flash can extremely benefit from this, even though I found LexCorp to work really well. And the reason the LexCorp level 1 move works exceptionally well is the bugged 50% chance of 60% health regen from your Special 1, if not 80%. But you also get the crit chance on Special 1, so your lightning kicks or flying punches or anything like that also does damage. And just like the Cloak of Destiny, you have a chance to stun on target. Now, when I actually play multiplayer, my whole roster is actually, everybody has a chance to stun on target. The significance of that is, if the opponent is stunned, unless you're playing against Red Suns, you're going to be doing more damage, especially with the Cloak of Destiny, because you have no chance of a move getting blocked. And speaking of the Cloak of Destiny, one of the best gear items that actually level up outside of the Ibistick or the LexCorp helmet, or the two-piece fourth world, especially the chestplate helmet, is the Cloak of Destiny because it's the only gear item that increases your damage against stun. So like for example, if you're using the Arkham team with Deathstroke, Batman, and either Bane or Harley Quinn, you can use an explosive batarang, stun the opponent, and then have Deathstroke come in and just maul whoever with the Cloak of Destiny, PROMETHIUM longsword, and the LexCorp helmet. And then even if you don't destroy them, you got rot damage from the LexCorp helmet. One other exceptional gear item to level up is the PROMETHIUM longsword, obviously, because it's the only, one of the few gear items in the game that has both damage and crit chance, and an exceptional upgrade for Deathstroke is it also gives 50% more damage on crit attack. So if you have a damage boost item to level up outside of the GHUL'S dagger, this is probably the best one to do because you get so many benefits from it. And Scorpion also gets some benefit from life drain on special 2. Unfortunately, Scorpion is not in my top 20 for cards that I actually use because Mortal Kombat X Scorpion is exceptionally slow, and Mortal Kombat Scorpion just does not have enough health to survive. So as far as other gear items go, the Omega Battleplate definitely takes some honorable mention. And it's not even about the blocking stops more damage. The significance, obviously, is the crit chance on Special 1. And the reason Omega Battleplate wins in this department is somebody like Red Sun Wonder Woman, you can actually put the Fourth World Helmet Chestplate, or even LexCorp helmet, and something else. And basically, you just become immune to like everything you don't block. And you can also crit more on Special 1s, which is exceptionally important because even if you have 50% crit chance, you're not always going to crit. So that basically helps that out. And the best 2-star gear, obviously, is the Marco Lady Shiva, although I've heard some things about the Black Ring, which can also be used on characters if you're looking for extra special damage, and life drain and damage boost on Special 1. So, for example, Metahuman the Flash could also gain a little bit of health using that. So it's not terrible on him. Icebound Necklace can be pretty good on Killer Frost because when you use that black ice, it's basically unblockable in the second half of it, so you're pretty much guaranteed life. And if you use the LexCorp Chestplate, you can gain a lot more life because you have so much chance to actually gain 40% of the damage you deal. So if you have LexCorp Chestplate at plus 10, you would actually gain 40% health, 99% chance of the time, which is pretty good. And the 60% crit chance on basic attacks is why Metahuman the Flash can actually get away with the LexCorp chest armor, and the LexCorp helmet will also pretty much work as a damage gear item. So that's why the LexCorp set can actually work pretty good on Metahuman the Flash. Now some other honorable mentions, obviously the Demon Blade gives you crit on Special 2 and damage boost to Special 2, so the Demon Blade can be really good. For example, on Killer Frost, who has that unblockable level 2 move. It can also be good on characters like Red Sun Superman, who basically has Flying Punch times 3. Even Red Sun Green Lantern can benefit from that as well. The Blue Lantern Ring also is blocking and a heal self on Special 2. This could be good if you prefer Special 2s versus Special 1s, as not a whole lot of things actually heal on Special 2. Now the ESKRIMA sticks are also pretty honorable mention because Nightwing gains unblockable chance on basic attacks. And if you play your cards right, Nightwing can actually be pretty destructive, especially if you have somebody like Hawkgirl to tag out quicker, and then either another tank, use Hawkgirl as a tank, or basically somebody that can do a lot of damage, and damage boost crit chance, you can't go wrong. This is probably the third gear item that I would level up outside of the NETHERREALM comma, and the PROMETHIUM longsword. Now, of course, the GHUL'S dagger, damage boost to basic attack, power drain on combo ender is exceptionally good with the Arkham Knight. It's also decent on Blackest Night Martian Manhunter. It can throw your rhythm up, and of course, starting with 1 bar of power can actually make Ares somewhat useful in multiplayer where he would otherwise be a piece of shit. And the Riddler's Cane fully evolved gives you a 21% chance to blink against Special 1. If you blink and you're not currently burned and you also not burned, so you could also use this with the double fourth world and it probably wouldn't be terrible, especially if you're like me when I did that whole survivor mode tips and tricks video, or multiplayer tips and tricks, where I got blinked like 5 times in a row. Yeah, that can happen, and when it does happen, it really sucks, but it proves that the gear item can be really good. Now, talking about blocking stop damage and boost the basic attack, if you're using the LexCorp helmet, So actually the fourth world helmet, which caps out at 25%, you can actually upgrade this and get your effective 40%, but also get damage boost to base attacks, whereas somebody like Arkham Origins Batman could use the helmet and the mace, and the chest plate would go on somebody else that's more defensive or more health oriented. Another gear item that's really good is the disc, because it's the only gear item in the game that can reflect all specials while blocking. So if you need a blocking gear item, like instead of the Omega Battle Plate, or for example, if you are not using the three-piece League of Assassins gear, you could definitely opt for the disc. And you could even reflect all specials on everybody by using the LexCorp chest plate, the fourth world chest plate, and the disc. So you would probably reflect about 60 to 70% all specials if you have them fully upgraded, although the actual amount is probably about 40 to 50%. And Raven also has a life drain crit chance on special too. The problem I have with Raven is now that they actually fixed the resurrection to guarantee a swap, I find that Raven is just a little bit flat in multiplayer. On offense, obviously she's a lot better because you can control the damage a lot more. But for example, Red Sun Superman can get Raven to like 30% and then just do a flying punch because you can just block her combos, and basically lights out for her. So there's a couple other gear items that are decent. The KAHNDAQ Garb for Black Adam is really good because you gain health. You also get crit chance on special 1. And Black Adam also gets a life drain on special 1. So if you're trying to stack health, not a terrible choice there either. And the Martian Garb gives you a heal on special 2. And Martian Manhunter also gets an unblockable on basic attack. So if your idea is to basically get some procs from the Ra's al Ghul's dagger, use the Martian Garb along with the LexCorp helmet, giving you 40% block chance. You pretty much have to rely on the Soul Survivor to heal up, and you probably could survive to do that, but pretty interesting stuff, and you can definitely mix match some gear. Some more honorable mentions are the Battle Mace, because if you hit that 5250, how much more crit do you actually need? And that's where this gear item can actually come into play, because for example, now instead of needing, say, the Ibistick or the knife collection, if your idea is to just do damage, now you have a chance to stun 25% on special 1. So you could get yourself to 2 bars on purpose. Battle Mace, if you stun, you basically knock the person out. You can trade off that, obviously, with healing, and you could also probably throw in some healing from other sources and pull that off. Carbon Fiber Mask is obviously one of the best gear items for Batgirl, as her level 1 move can get ridiculous, especially when you have it fully maxed out. And a little bit of extra health doesn't make Cassandra Cain Batgirl as squishy or regular Batgirl, so pretty cool shit. And the custom pistols, also another gear item that can be pretty good. It's not exceptionally good on the Arkham Knight, but all characters, especially when you're at 5250, can definitely make use of the unblockable and basic attacks, and somebody like MetaHuman the Flash will just turn people into Swiss cheese when they use the custom pistols, because as we know, the passive ability can add crit chance and basic attacks. And if you have augmentations for it, you can gain damage and crit chance, basically for free. So the custom pistols and Hawkgirl's gear item become exceptionally well, where you don't need to really worry about crits. And if you really need crits, you can just put on the LexCorp gauntlets, have that ridiculous heal, and then you still have the crit on special 1. And then the passive adds crit to it. The Hyperspeed suit is also fairly decent because you get that crit chance on special 1, so you can actually do a little bit more damage. The power generation will allow you to basically spam your level 1 moves, and there is a noticeable difference with the Speed Force versus not, so that's really good. The unblockable chance on basic attacks basically just makes MetaHuman the Flash a killing machine fully upgraded at 25% unblockable and 18% power generation, so pretty good shit. The yellow power ring from Sinestro can be decent if you need damage boost to special 2, but I've also found out that the Atlantean polearm is exceptional because, for example, when you're doing the Soul Survivor, the Arkham Assaults, the Gotham Strikes, the Balls of Steel, or any other level 2 move, I don't like Wonder Woman's level 2 move. I think the Shield Toss should be used on her. The Guardian for Martian Manhunter, or from Green Lantern, you can actually get some good benefit from damage and stunning, because then you can follow that up with a flying punch from Superman and basically win the game. So, out of all those gear items, those are the ones I'd probably choose. The Magic Wand is also power generation and crit on special 1. So if you're using the Ibistick and basically trying to do most of your damage from specials, that's a pretty good alternative as well. So there are some good ones. And the Kryptonian suit is healing, Chance to reflect special too while blocking, which is important because Superman, in my case, is the main damage dealer, so any heat you can take off is really good. So if you like this video on what gear you should be focusing on, and my number one choice obviously being the Ibistick, please give this video a like rating, comment, subscribe, share this video amongst your friends, and as a favorite, check out my other Injustice Gods Among Us videos, my playlist, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, which are all Hollywood Shono. And have a wonderful day, kids.
www.youtube.com/HollywoodShono. Subscribe, bitches!